I'm W. Michael Blumenthal. I was Secretary of the Treasury in the administration of Jimmy Carter between 1977 and 79. And since 1997, I have been the director of the Jewish Museum of Berlin in Germany. The German government was very interested to build a significant Jewish museum in their capital city. And they knew about me, they knew about my birth in Germany, they knew about my position in the United States, and they knew that I'd written a book about German Jewish history. And so they asked me whether I would do this for a short period of time to help the museum get started. And I promised I would do it for 18 months. Not really living here, but just coming here frequently from the United States, from my home in Princeton. And that 18 months has turned out to be 17 years. We wanted to attract a lot of young people, so we designed the museum to be particularly interesting to them, with a lot of interactive ways of learning about history, a lot of electronic media, a lot of games and things that engage people, and people find that interesting. But finally, we also began to attract a lot of foreign visitors, not only German citizens from all over the Federal Republic of Germany, but many, many foreign visitors who come and who themselves learn a lot about that history and are impressed by the fact that the Germans have built such a wonderful museum and are particularly proud of having such a museum in their capital city. In my youth, when I was a little boy here, before Hitler seized power in 1933, about 500,000 Jews lived in Germany. That was less than 1% of the German population, but they played an important role here. After the war, partly because of emigration, fleeing from Germany, partly because a good many of them were deported and murdered, very few survived. And today, the Jewish population of Germany, again, many young people from all parts of the world who find Germany an attractive place to live and who practice their religion here very freely, just as freely as we do that in the United States. To work out harmonious relationships, whether these are Muslims, whether these are Jews, whether these are Christians, whether they have a different skin color or a different cultural background, that's very important. And we in the Jewish Museum are trying in various ways, through various programs, cultural and educational programs in particular, to talk about that lesson, to talk about the lessons to be drawn from German Jewish history for contemporary German society in the 21st century.
My name is Viviane Lea-Roquier. I am from Berlin, this wonderful city that you can see here in my background, which is the capital of Germany. I was born here into a Jewish family 31 years ago. My ancestors are originally from Poland, from a little town called Tarnów. Most of my family died during the Second World War, and it's only due to the incredible story of my grandparents that I can be here today and tell you about me and my family. My grandmother survived the war after she jumped out of a train which was going to Auschwitz. From there she managed to go back to her hometown where she was hiding underneath a cow shed for the rest of the war. My grandfather was in a labor camp in Volta in Germany and survived the war over there. When they came back to their hometown after the war ended, they were waiting for the rest of the family to return. But after some time they realized that there was no one else to come. And this was the point when they decided to go back to Germany. What my grandparents used to do in Poland was they were producing paints, industrial paints. So Germany, a destroyed country, needed a lot of paint. So this was the way for them to make money, and this is the reason why they came to Berlin. Nowadays, me and my father, we operate the paint factory, and my uncle, my brother, and my cousins, they do real estate. From the real estate, we started to build hotels, and this is the first of our hotels, the Amano Hotel. Nowadays we have 4 different hotels in Germany, and we're about to build 4 more in the city of Berlin. Everything my family does, we do together, and everything my family owns, we own together. Family to me is definitely the most important thing in my life. Not only do we work together and spend enormous time together, we also celebrate all the major Jewish holidays. Usually we go to synagogue, and afterwards we have a big meal at home. We also do Shabbat every Friday. Every Friday is a big balagan at either my house or my uncle's house. And we also love to invite other people if they can cope with the noise. What we also do is we like to invite our non-Jewish friends to our Shabbat dinners from time to time. To me, Judaism is a part of myself, which is inseparably linked to myself. It just gives me a warm feeling when I think about it. Knowing that there's a big Jewish community everywhere in the world just makes me very happy. I believe the history and the Shoah, they should never be forgotten, and it plays a role in every person's life, especially though to the European Jews. My grandparents were basically all the time sitting on packed bags, prepared for the worst and ready to leave the country. Nowadays, my generation, we're happy here in Berlin. There's a lot of Israeli people, a lot of Jewish people moving to Berlin, also because it's an incredibly amazing city, and we love to be here, and we feel good, and we feel safe.
My name is Rabbi Volta, and I was born in Lower Bavaria, near the Austrian border, studied then in Munich, Germany, and London in the United Kingdom. I also did my rabbinical studies in Great Britain at the Leo Baeck College, and did my doctorate in King's College in London. I then moved back to Germany and lived in Munich, Frankfurt, Hamburg, and now in Berlin. I'm the rector of the Abraham Geiger College, the Reform Jewish Training Center for Rabbis and Cantors. And I'm also a member of the executive board of the World Union for Progressive Judaism, which is the international arm of the Reform Jewish organization. When the wall came down in 1989 and we had an influence of some 200,000 immigrants, and the Jewish community in Germany grew from 20,000 dwindling to 200,000 growing, I think it became quite evident that we needed an indigenous training center for rabbis. The important task of a rabbi today in Germany is to make sure that the religious aspect becomes a part of the daily life of the Jewish community. A Jewish community that largely consists of people who have a very secular communist background. And therefore, it's a great challenge for young, talented people to do this. And it's a great pleasure to see that they are very successful, partly because they speak the language, Russian or Ukrainian, and therefore can much better reach out to these newcomers in the Jewish world here than the ancient predecessors that we had. We have a great lack of rabbis, and most of them are well over 80. So you can imagine that young people are the best safeguard to make sure that the Jewish identity can continue. The past plays an important role in Germany, and I think it is an ever-present part also of public life. I think we have a very sincere commemoration culture, and part of the renaissance of German Jewish life is due to the fact that the German government does everything to make sure that the future looks brighter with the dark past in mind. The future of Jewish life will largely depend whether we can make sure that those that immigrated will also continue to be a part of Jewish life. They wanted to be in Germany because that country offers for them more freedom, more economic success, more educational chances for their children, and obviously that also changes the mood of the community.